Okay, so one of the local stores is having a 3,000 point uncomped tournament over the weekend, and I don't think my demons can really compete in that kind of hardcore environment, so naturally I'm taking my Beastmen. um, so I decided to get a couple practice games in with them, and so here's a game against Ogres. So the left side of my deployment zone, as usual, I have two Tuskor chariots, a unit of 25 Bestigors with standard bearer musician with the flaming banner, another unit of 20 Gors, and I have my level 4 with death and a level 1 of beasts in that unit. A couple units of raiders, my two shadow level 1s kitted out like so. Then the herdstone, and then I have my horde of 40 Bestigors. The Beast Lord's in there. He's got the blackened plate, 4 ward, stubborn crown, and he's also got an additional hand weapon, which is a little bit of an unusual build for me. I usually have him killy, but this is kind of like a Swiss Army Beast Lord. So I can give him I can put him in any unit that I need stubborn, or if I need flaming protection, and he's got an additional hand weapon, so if I need some initiative 5 flaming attacks, I can pop him in the flaming banner unit, and just things like that. So it's kind of an idea I'm playing around with. So he's in the 40 Bestigors. No standard discipline in that unit, because if I'm popping him out, I want them to be able to use his leadership. 2 units of Harpies in the rear. 50 Gors with the 2 of 6 BSB, full command, additional hand weapons. 5 Raiders with a musician, a pig. And then here on the right, another unit of 5 Raiders, also with musician. So on the Ogre's left, so my right, he's got 2 Saber Tusks, an Iron Blaster, and a unit of 18, yes, you heard that right, 18 Iron Guts. And he's got his characters in there. I think they're kitted out like so. He's got a Butcher with a Scroll, his level 4, who's basically, you can't kill that guy, and then his Battle Standard Bearer. So I don't play Ogres, and I'm not familiar with the book really, but my guess is that's about 1,400 points that I'm basically not going to be able to get. So that's kind of tricky to deal with. And then he's got I think it's a Thunder Tusk in the woods, unit of 3 Morn Fangs with banner and a musician, another Iron Blaster, 2 more cats, and then the icing on the cake is this unit of gentlemen right here, which is 8 Man-Eaters with scouting, stubborn, and additional hand weapons. So that unit right there is a major problem. Because they're throwing out 32 strength 5 attacks, and that's just the attacks that have to roll to hit. He's got impact hits and stomps as well, and they will just blow through. Yeah, that unit could just blitzkrieg my herdstone and just kill all this stuff so fast. It's just wow, very scary unit. So I rolled the first turn, and I decided to throw both the chariots in. I'm just hoping to get some good impact hit rolls and thin them out. Just see where we are after that. Otherwise, the rest of the movement over here is just a little bit of shuffling. I don't remember why I moved the Bestigor unit up. I think I was running out of space for something I wanted to do, like moving some characters around or something like that, or something. So I ended up having to inch them forward a little bit. So, yeah, that's nerve-wracking. 8 Man-Eaters on your doorstep. That's not nice. So here on the right, the rightmost Raider unit goes to hunt some dogs. The other Raiders are running towards the Iron Guts to block them up. Pigs staying in the area to keep the Iron Blaster under control. In the magic phase, I go ahead and throw a Weasons on one of the chariots to bump the impact hits up to strength 6, so just do a little bit more damage. And then I cast Doom and Darkness on the unit as well, just by some miracle. If they fluff their attacks, and I win, that'll be the end of the Man-Eaters. But anyway, so yeah, that's a pipe dream. So the Man-Eaters blow the chariots off the table and reform like so. When I moved the Bestigors up, I did make sure to make sure I left the Man-Eaters a really long charge. And then the Raiders there, if they charge the Raiders, I can you know, they'll hit the raiders and then overrun in the Bestigors, and then I'll have a magic phase to kind of deal with them. But if they charge the Bestigors, they'll have to do it. They'll have to angle, make contact, and kind of close the door that will deny them an overrun into the bunker. So you can't really see that in this picture, but I figured I'd point it out anyway. Okay, so here's how we're looking going into the Ogres next turn. He opens up with the 2 Saber-Tusk charges into the Raiders, and they both fail. Iron Blaster moves up to try to snipe some characters. But otherwise the Ogre Horde just moves up. He's keeping his Saber-Tusks back, just kind of out of harm's way, because I do have a lot of ranged damage capability for a Beastmen army, and if he has them too far forward, I'll just start sniping them and causing panic tests, and with Doom and Darkness on the table, that's, you know, it's very dangerous. You'll notice his Man-Eater unit didn't move. That's because I took this picture before. He forgot to charge him into the Bestigor unit, and I took this picture, and then I asked him later if he wanted to charge him in, and he said yeah, and so he ended up charging him in, but they failed to charge. Okay, so here we go. This is after Beastman movement. I will note that he did, in his magic phase, he rolled a pretty healthy magic phase, and he threw a lot of dice at the big comet and put it right next to my herdstone. So, yeah, I got a big comet coming down right next to my herdstone, so that sucks. But I think he ended up miscasting and losing the rest of the dice pool or whatever, so he couldn't dispel Doom and Darkness on the Man-Eaters, so that's good. So in my movement phase, I just moved the pig up to block him. I would rather have him, you know, on the other side, angling him off the table, but he didn't have enough movement to get there. So, but this is fine, because if they hit him and overrun, he'll give his flank to the Bestigors, and if he hits him and doesn't overrun, it's still, you know, he's still going to be making long charges to get in. Move the Central Raider unit there to go start shooting at some Saber-Tusks, and if he charges with the Iron Blaster or the Mournfangs, he's not going to really get anything. Bestigors move up very aggressively. You'll notice I popped the Beast Banner into that unit, because the Gore unit is not looking like it's going to do any fighting, which you'll see in the next picture, I think. Whereas the Bestigor unit is facing down his Thunder Tusk, the Mournfang unit, and a possible charge from the Iron Blaster. So they're going to need that Strength 7. So I went ahead and popped the Beast Banner in there. It also was kind of nice to you know, just give the leadership reroll to all these units that are going to be taking panic checks from the comet coming down. Whereas the Gore, you can see in this picture, the Gores are, you know, they're not going to be fighting the Iron Guts anytime soon. So they don't really need the leadership, which is very kind of a weird concept as a Beastmen player. So it's kind of an idea I'm playing around with. It's just being real fluid with the character movement. Otherwise, the Harpies. Keeping them in the area. I don't have a specific job for them yet, but I want them around because, you know, 18 Iron Guts, that unit can never see combat. So I move the Raiders up to block them. Over here, Raiders don't move because I want to shoot the dogs without any modifiers. If the Raiders can nick a wound or two off of a Saber-Tusk, they can kill it pretty easily in combat. And then the pig moves so that they're both in his front arc. If he double charges him in, my pig could probably take him unless he fluffs his attacks. So I'm liking how clearing up the dogs over here is going. Let's see. Okay, so we go back to the Man-Eaters. Now, like I said, he forgot to, or he didn't have a chance to dispel Doom and Darkness. So I did the long reform, the wide reform with the Gore unit, so that the Man-Eaters were definitely in my level 4's front arc, and basically I hit them with all of my ranged magic that I could. I threw the Hag Tree Fetish on him. I hit him with Caress, Spirit Leech, and the Ruby Ring, and he stopped some of it. But I think when the dust cleared, I'd killed 2 Man-Eaters. So that's a panic check, and they were doom and darkness up, so they panicked and went right off the table. So that was a huge headache gone. That unit was a serious problem, but now it's a lot of points. So otherwise, here's how we're looking over here, and this is going into. Oh, by the way, the comet, you roll for the comet in every magic phase, so you can see in this picture that it killed half. It did come down. It killed half the gore bunker. So it knocked off the second rank of that, and then it killed the unit of 5 raiders and panicked one of the shadow level ones off the table. So that's kind of annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. Most upsetting though, it killed 11 bestigors. So yeah, ouch. So on the ogre's turn, he takes both saber tusks into the pig on the right. Iron Blaster moves up to continue sniping characters. Interestingly enough, the Iron Guts don't charge the Raider unit, which is definitely fine with me. But then this happens. So the Bestigors get charged by the Thunder Tusk, the Mournfang unit, and the Iron Blaster. So that's going to be really nasty. And then one of his Saber Tusks charges the Raider unit. Oh boy. Okay, so here's how we're looking over here. Just a picture of the damage done from the comet, I guess. Okay, so as we go to close combat, I don't have a better picture for you, and I really wish I did. But you can see that when the dust settles in that main combat, the Thunder Tusk is, he's been taken down a wound. The Mournfangs are all dead. I have 2 Bestigors and my general and battle standard left, who will hold on a stubborn 9 rerollable. So yeah, really kind of a huge gamble. I really wasn't expecting to get hit that hard. I was the comet taking the back rank off, and just, man, God, that was just so many attacks. Yeah, that really hurt. But anyway, didn't get him any points though. So that's how we're looking over here. Saber Tusk eats the Raiders and overruns like so. So then we go to the Beastmen's next turn. And yeah, this looks like, oh, you can see on the right that my pig was able to kill both of the Saber Tusks, and no, he killed one, the other's booking it, and I passed his restrain pursuit check, so he's reformed to face the Iron Blaster. So I'm very happy with that pig right now. But again, I apologize for the quality of the photos. I don't know what I was doing. Okay, so on my next turn, the Raiders declare a charge into the fleeing Saber Tusk. He doesn't get away, so they catch him, kill him, pass their leadership test to reform, like so. My pig goes ahead and charges the Iron Blaster in the flank, which I love, because he's just looking at getting an Ogre and a Noblar attacking him. Love it. Let's see here. Yeah, here's just a kind of a picture of the action, just kind of keeping the Harpies lurking in the area. So I take the Gore Horde into charge into the combat with the Stonehorn. Since he didn't charge the Raider unit in his last turn, they're safe from the Iron Gut unit. So I'm taking all those ranks and a banner in charge and a lot of static res into that fight. And my Beast Lord can tank the damage from the Iron Blaster and that beast if he wants to put any attacks on him really well. So yeah, really happy to get some static combat res there. And it's also a place to hide the characters once the fighting settled down for a little bit. Let's see. The Bestigor unit on the left charges the Saber Tusk, which fled the charge, which is, that's a good move by my opponent, because it was a flank charge into the Saber Tusk, and they had a very easy overrun into the flank of the Iron Blaster. Otherwise, I move wheel the bunker up like so, getting the level 4 into range for his spells, but taking care to keep the other 2 wizards in range of the Hearthstone. Up top, you can see I just sneaking the pig around the back to just cause mayhem. He popped, in one of his previous turns, he popped his Butcher out so that he could reach the Iron Blaster with his Bubble Troll Guts. So normally I would think that that was really, really risky move, but, you know, the only threat to him is the Death Magic, and that's going to get him in the unit, whether he's in the unit or out of it. So, I don't know. I don't know enough about this situation to say if that was a bad call or not. So, it is what it is. So anyway, basically in the Beastmen army, if you can't solve it with Hatred and Great Weapons, you need to have the Great Bray take care of it. And basically he steps up to the plate very nicely in the magic phase and throws a purple sun through this combat and kills both of those big Griblies. And yeah, so big headache out of the way. You know, level 4 is man of the match. You know, just clearing the ogre nasties off like that. So really happy with that. I think, yeah, so that's how we're looking. So as we go into the close combat phase, if the enemy is wiped out before any blows are struck, you get to make a reform before you do anything else. So I go ahead and reform the Gore unit so that it is out of the overrun of the Iron Guts once they charge into the Raider unit. And the Bestigors reform like so. Just taking care to leave that cat in their front. Yeah, so that's how we're looking to go to the Ogres next turn. And let's see, I'm not sure what I'm trying to show you here, except I'm still blocking his Iron Guts with the Raiders. Yeah, here's how things are looking. Okay, so yeah, of course he declares that charge, because you know he really has to, otherwise he's not going to do anything with them. Oh, yeah. So my pig charges into the Iron Blaster, beats it in combat the previous turn. Here he is chasing it off the table. So that'll do, pig. That'll do. Oh, he also moves his Saber Tusk to kind of redirect the Gore unit from the Iron Guts, and yeah, it doesn't really matter. There's no way in hell I am charging the Gores into that unit. I'm not charging anything in that unit. So of course at the end of close combat, looking like that, Iron Guts take their reform. And so as we go to my next turn, I pop both of my General and my Battle Standard Bearer into the Gore bunker by the Herdstone. Move the Bestigors up very cautiously, because you can see that yellow glass stone marker in the woods there. He dropped another comet right there, so I didn't want that Bestigor unit to get too close, because when the comet hits, it's going to kill, it'll probably wipe out the Gore unit, and then I'll be able to pop the characters into that into the Bestigor unit. And now that there's no Iron Blasters on the table, you know, they can't really be threatened if they're out on their own. Otherwise, Pig charges the Saber Tusk to get rid of them. 2 surviving Bestigors are booking it for the hills. So yeah, after killing the Mournfangs, they've had enough. And the Gores charge the Saber Tusks, just, you know, so that it can't continue its blocking maneuvers, because I plan on fleeing the charge from the Iron Guts, and you can't flee charges with those things running around. You just, you know, it's too hard to predict what's going to happen. Okay, so yeah, I can't redirect the Iron Gut unit to the upper left because I didn't have the movement to put the Harpies to angle the Harpies up that way, and I don't want them going to the lower right because that's just getting them closer to the Herdstone. So I just decided the best way to do it is just straight on, just to speed bump him with the first Harpy unit. So Gores easily kill the Saber Tusk reform like so to really put as much distance as possible between them and the Iron Guts. I probably should have gone a little wider, but you know, it is what it is. And to add insult to injury, they didn't even kill that stupid Saber Tusk. You can see it's heading into the tree line up top. Yeah. So that's how we're looking. Pig kills his Saber Tusk, though. Okay, so when the comet comes down, Well, this is the Ogre's next turn, so he charges the Iron Guts into the Harpies, obviously. In his magic phase, he buffs up his Ogres. Comet comes down, kills, basically takes the bunker down to one guy, which is fine, still no points. So it's kind of interesting. That spell with his casting of Comet, his 2 castings of Comet have probably killed 40, 45 models, but haven't gotten many points. So it's kind of interesting, just the uses of it. I'm not familiar with, using the spell effectively, so, but I just thought that was interesting. And it killed a bunch of the Gore block too, as well. So the Iron Guts easily kill the Harpies and overrun. And now, in my previous magic phase, I miasma down their movement as well. So, yeah, kind of a scary overrun. I definitely should have reformed my Gore a little wider to get him as far away as possible from the Iron Guts, because that's a real scary position to be in. If he'd got in there, whew, that'd have been bad. So my next turn, I go ahead and move the Gore unit back. Let's see. I moved up the lone standard bearer for the other Gore unit, which I think it was a mistake moving him up that far. I should have him like 5 or so inches behind the unit, so that when I flee the charge, they'll bounce through him and get extra distance. Because in the magic phase, I do end up hexing the Iron Gut unit, dropping their movement down so that he doesn't have the real threatening charge range. Okay, so yeah, when he actually declares the charge, he's movement 4. The gap's 5 inches, so when I flee, I should just be able to beat him on the dice. I got an extra inch of movement, so I figure my odds of fleeing and getting away are a little better than holding, and just because they're just gonna blow right through that unit. Like, that's insane. I might kill 2 Iron Guts, and that's still like 54 attacks coming at them, so plus impact hits and stomps, so they'll go through that Gore unit insanely fast. So I decided to flee the charge, but I fluff the roll, and he gets, he catches him. So that's that. Now I got the big, I kind of made a bit of a difficult issue for myself here, but kind of had to happen. That Gore unit was going to go one way or the other. So anyway, all the characters have jump shipped into the Bestigor unit now. I did a swift reform on the Bestigors to bring them wide, so that I could put my mages at the bottom here, so that they're all generating Herdstone dice. So as we go into I think this is my last turn of the game. I drop the Harpies in front of the Iron Gut unit, so he can't charge into the bunker and get those points. The problem is he's got his Butcher up there on his own, who's got the Ruby Ring, and then he's got his Slaughtermaster, who's got Thunderbolt, and I have 2 Bestigors, both within range of those spells, that are protecting 510 points. And so I do a quick tally of the victory points at this point, and I'm up, not by a lot, but I am up. So basically, I can't, in his magic phase, I can't stop the Ruby Ring, I can't stop Thunderbolt, so I need to draw one of them away from the Bestigors. So I throw out the juiciest target I can think of, the one surefire thing that's going to get the Slaughtermaster's attention. So I throw the level 4 out to try to draw the Thunderbolt away from the Bestigors, because I'm only going to be able to stop one. If I stop the Ruby Ring, the game will be a draw. But if he kills the Bestigors, I'll lose the game by about 200 points or so. So, yeah. And if he doesn't kill either, I'll win the game. But, yeah. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, and then, there's the Bestigor. So anyway, as we go into his turn, he pops the Slaughtermaster out, goes for the level 4, kills the level 4. I dispel the Ruby Ring, and the game ends in a draw. So, I'm kind of interested to hear some thoughts on that little maneuver, because I don't really know, I don't really know if that was a good plan or what. So I'm interested to hear your guys' take on it. But anyway, so that was the game, pretty much a 40-point victory point difference. So not too bad, I don't think. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the report, and I'll catch you guys at the next one.